The National Council of Sports is under scrutiny by a committee in Parliament, and this is due to factors that some of the sports sectors within the country normally receive less funds or don't receive any funding at all. And so under the scrutiny, they are actually being asked the tough questions on how they disburse of the different funds to different sports sectors, which include netball, we have basketball, because we've apparently got quite a number of those. And this follows the situations whereby most of the sectors are actually appealing to government month in, month out, that they still need more money for the funding of their activities or for the calendar year in regards to sports. Good morning, hope you're okay. This is Smart Means Business, and we are off to the second hour of your daily Kickstarter. Well, from 6:30 a.m. was the news recap, and here quickly off, we definitely be giving you more of the updates coming in this early morning. Now, from that, with the business update, we take you to what was happening yesterday at the committee in Parliament, where the National Council of Sports was under scrutiny on how it disburses of, or on how it shares the different funds to different sports sectors within the country. Take a look.
I'm going to make clarification as a minister responsible for education and sports specifically. The first one, is there a mismatch between the father and the grandfather and the children? I am the minister. So before anyone here, I am the person with the final say. So when I see a child beginning to contradict the father, I have to bring the child to order. And that's what I did here, because I saw my child was beginning to mislead and to go beyond his mandate. So I had to remind him that, by the way, I am here. So don't begin to usurp my powers when I'm still alive. So I did it in good faith, and that was in affirmative. Number two, the issues of Uganda Netball Federation. I want to inform Madam Chair, I am managing the situation because I have carried out an extensive investigation on the matter. I found it there, and I'm about to conclude on it. Actually, tomorrow, to go on record. Is it confirmed? I have a meeting with the netballers, the players, because in all this confusion, my main aim is the athlete. I do not want an athlete to miss what is due for her. We big people, we call ourselves big. Are we facilitating those people to achieve the sport? Like the Honorable Edie said, sports is about now money. As a country, we have 3 professional players now. All of them are in England. I want many to go to the rest of the country to get us more money. So when I see this confusion, is it Madam President? Is it the board? Yeah, that's within their constitution. But at the end of the day, I have to say, you've asked pertinent questions. What is the role of the federation? Are you getting me? Which I want us to confess. Some of us have not been doing our work. And we must be open here. Because if we don't, then we are not going to hear the persuasion. But in all these honorable colleagues, this new sports bill is going to solve the problem. Part of the problem has also been the law. But now, it is here. You look at this bill, and I want to interest all of you to go and read it. Copies have been given. It's going to address the problem. Another issue you asked, have you ever managed to visit these federations? When I came into the ministry, I started with visiting them. There are 51 to the records. How many have I visited so far? I think about 10, 15. But I also have my own report, which I'm going to submit the top management of the Ministry of Education, my own observations at the time I've spent while visiting some of these federations. Do they qualify to get money or not? These are the issues which I'm undertaking. And at the end of the day, my powers, I have given it to the chairman. Mr. Tashobia is a very big person, and I want us to accept to give him time. Because even that doctor, it is him who supervises him. It is him, it's not me. For me, I come at a broader level. When he fails, I come in. Council, it is a day-to-day management, it's the council. The chairman is here. So, First of all, I wanted to say, as far as Netball Federation is concerned, I am on top of events, and I'll be able to inform the country of what's happening. But I want to say, can we thank them for the outstanding performance they have presented to the country? Those are the achievements which we were asking for. It's the first time Uganda Netball Federation qualified for World Cup, and they are going to participate in South Africa. They have been in Commonwealth. They have been in New Zealand. They have been to the UK. They have been doing extremely well. But the few things of governance and management, which we are beginning to put them in order.
Is to see many Ugandan footballers playing professional. Not only footballers, we've seen netball players, our netball ladies who are actually playing professional netball away from Uganda. Then when you go to the aspect of athletics, we've as well seen most of those who have been trading their plight away from Uganda and competing favorably with international companies in regards to world athletics, international world athletics competitions. So this is where the entire dream is all about, and if you're to look at the Ministry of Sports, that is what they feel should be done. This money is being allocated to the National Council of Sports to disperse it to the different sectors because it is the body that oversees on behalf of the ministry to ensure that the sporting activities in the calendar year, in the given calendar year, does go as planned. Well, not only that, now, the National Council of Sports was before the Select Committee to digest the queries of money that the different sectors of sports don't get. When you look at, I did mention basketball, and then there are others, I wouldn't say woodball, golf, some of the other sectors that are not benefiting mainly from this particular money, only from the private stakeholders who are attached to these sports sectors are the only ones that do believe that are only getting this. Now, Honorable Peter Ogwang, who is the State Minister for Sports, was actually giving his clarity on how government is standing behind every sportsman within the country, and government is well dedicated to ensure that they will be supporting everyone who is engaging in sports by providing the necessary funding that passes by. Okay, now besides that, let's head into the press review this morning. And the New Vision has a headline regarding students' loan schemes, where the lists are now out for the students who are yet to benefit from this particular loan scheme by the government. And of course, the cohort was released yesterday at the Uganda Media Center, of which you've apparently got to see some of those from the news recap this morning as well. And we did have that in our previous bulletin yesterday night. So when you look at the loan scheme beneficiaries between 2022 to 2023, there is the name of the applicants in here, the list, full list, and the district of origin. So as a student who's watching the show, as a parent who's watching the show, and your child applied last year for a loan scheme from the government, you can clearly get yourself the papers today, and you definitely see full list to see whether your child or your children are among those who are going to benefit from the government funding at the university. Then also, President Museveni has assured investors, and he has spoke on economy and the US trip. There is a lot of controversies over that United States trip, and President Museveni has also spoken highly about those issues. That and more is here in the New Vision this morning. Then the United States has warned Rwanda on the Democratic Republic of Congo. This has created a room for instability within the two countries, Rwanda and the DRC, over the mismanagement of the rebel groups in there. But when you realize President Paul Kagame did reveal that the issues are completely out of his hand, and the DRC has to handle these particular internal conflicts with them, because as the East African Community region, you get to realize, for us, we come in as a unifying factor to stabilize the country and to keep peace and harmony within the region. And good thing is now the DRC is part of the East African Community region, so it is upon the entire member states to ensure that they provide security and also make it possible for business to prevail within the entire region besides the DRC. Now, When you look at the other report regarding teenage pregnancies, the government of Norway has given 16 billion shillings in funding to go to the highly burdened districts of Mayuge, Kamuri, which experts say have become hotspots for teenage pregnancies. That is what the New Vision has this morning. And lastly, from the press review this morning, the Daily Monitor, as government recovers 240 billion shillings from thieving officials. That is what the Daily Monitor has highlighted. And according to a scorecard released by government, is that the Auditor General yesterday ranked top in recovering money stolen by public officials, followed by State House Anti-Corruption Unit, with the Inspectorate of Government coming third on this particular yardstick. So when you look at this, it's a war on corruption. Friday is Anti-Corruption Day, and this is a day when we get to celebrate, to commemorate, I should use that for a better word, to commemorate a day to fight against, the International Day to fight against corruption, vice that the international world is greatly against, and in Africa, it is a vice that is actually eating us up indefinitely. So when you look at this particular, there are figures in here from the different government organizations, government bodies, from the IGG recovering 30 billion, State House recovering 35.5 billion shillings, then Auditor General recovering 175 billion shillings, then we have the Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions, then the Finance Intelligence Authority, and then the Criminal Investigations Directorate, amongst the others which are in there. So when you look at the amount of money that has been lost annually due to corruption, it is over 10 trillion Ugandan shillings. That is too much of money. Then also in here is that you get to realize the Daily Monitor has highlighted about the state which has lost interest in pursuing the 142 billion shillings city markets compensation case against Hassan Basajja Balaba and his brother. That is the Daily Monitor, which has more of these particular ones in regards to business. So that is it for our press review this particular morning. You've got 22 minutes off the clock of 7 a.m. in the morning, and second half of the show, it is where we give you more of the business updates and highlights from different angles of business from Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and of course DRC and the East African community. Speaking of which, adding on is South Sudan. So pretty much situation in here, so you can grab yourself these copies here and get more of the press review from the world of business and get more insights from the business world. And besides that, now as we are heading into the situations, we're getting more of our traffic updates this morning to see what is happening on the floor of the vehicles. Before you leave your home, how best can you plan and how can you prepare before you leave? Which routes are safer for you and which routes wouldn't you wish to use? Now, these particular ones are coming in from Yusuf Lule Road as we are actually moving in. As you can see, the flow of traffic not yet too busy. The congestion is not yet that tight, if I'm to say. That is around the areas of Yusuf Lule. The congestion is not yet that tight. So for those who are actually leaving Mulago areas, coming to the ends of Garden City, those who are actually leaving from Kololo, those who are actually leaving Kamocha, passing through that same lane of Yusuf Lule, you can clearly see that it's not that busy yet, and there are no traffic officers deployed as of now, because most of the users now are using more of the traffic lights in that space. Border borders are more on the road than the personal vehicles, as you can see. But for those who are actually using the route, heading from the route from Fairway, Nakasero side, those are people who are actually heading into either Kamocha and heading to Jinja Road using the Yusuf Lule Road as well. The traffic flow is not yet that tight, but of course, just to quickly remind you that inside the time, you always have to remember to be very cautious as you using the road, because you can see the border riders in most cases rarely follow these particular guidelines, because they have a lot of there's a lot of confusion. What one may actually say, there's a lot of kavuyo in there in the morning drama on the road. But also when you look at the Yusuf Lule Road, unlike other roads or other routes, they do have traffic lights. So one may ask, why don't we have traffic officers deployed there yet at this particular early moment in time? Well, later on in the day, traffic officers always control the flow of traffic at the use of Lule Road. But however, in some of the areas like the Ginger Road, around as you're actually heading to Zambia, the route to Zambia, routes to Chirekabweyogere, routes to Bugolobi, around that Ginger Road area, you get to realize that traffic is normally heavily deployed in the morning, and at this particular moment in time when the traffic lights are a bit having issues, I should say, then the traffic is always heavily deployed in the morning to control the flow of traffic, because there's some huge madness late in the night when there is no one controlling the flow of vehicles at that time. And you can see there are quite a few traffic officers as of now around the use of Lule Road. So for those who are actually using the route to head to Kamocha and Kololo, you can see it is actually easily done. The flow is moving on swiftly, and those who are actually heading now to Kampala and all those other routes at the use of Lule Road, as it is actually coming up this particular morning, you will get to see that these are times when you could definitely get yourself up in the morning at this particular moment to actually beat this traffic before it becomes tight at around 9 a.m. and at around maybe 10 a.m. or so. So when you look at this particular situation as well as it's coming in from there, for those particular people who use different routes in the morning, this is something that we can actually look at as a benchmarking situation on how people actually use this, how the people are maintaining the road signs, and how the traffic flow is moving on swiftly at the use of Lule Road. But also on the other hand, if we are to follow up on the other situations, if you're to look at the other kind of routes, if we are to move to areas like Bukoto, I believe Bukoto and Tinda areas, these are some of the road users who are normally very keen on the flow of traffic, or the road usage on that particular route is more professional, if I'm to use, for lack of a better word, I should say, more professional than any other areas. You can as well challenge me with any other area that you feel has a better flow of traffic in that way. But as well as you can see, the flow is not yet tight, like I did mention, as you can see vehicles coming in from the areas of Mulago, those who are actually heading to Kampala using the use of Lule route. There is yet to experience a long queue of vehicles lining up at the traffic lights. So which clearly shows you that these particular routes, if you are to opt for which route to use to head to town faster, now you have that one. For those who are coming in from Kamoti, you can use that route. Those who are coming in from Kololo, that is the exact route you can definitely think of at this time. Those from Mulago, those from Gayaza Road and Pele, you can use that instead of opting for the other route of Wandegia. But also that depends on where you're heading to in the morning. You may use this route and you're actually taking a double charge over your particular vehicle in that. So that is something that we are definitely going to be giving you more of the other updates. But besides that particular one, we will be switching our eyes to what is happening in Zambia to as well see the flow of traffic from the Zambia side. For those who are actually leaving, either those who are leaving Gaba, people who are actually leaving areas of Bunga, Munyonyo, people who are actually leaving areas of in Zambia, pretty much, I should say, as well. Those who are actually leaving the areas, moving to the other side of Makinde, and they're going to use the route to the route via Zambia. So those are some of the key things that you need to at least experience in traffic, so that you prepare before you leave your home. Which routes can you use? Which routes will make it easier for you to reach in time? Which ones will cause you some terrible situation, or what you could call those which will delay you on your way to your workplace. So these are times when we get to realize that the traffic updates always is here to give you more of those particular updates to usher you into a day as you are more prepared about what is coming in from there. And of course, we shall be definitely getting more of the traffic updates later on in the show. But as of now, we go into a break. When I do return, I have the Karibu East Africa. Not only that, I have more of the SM International updates coming up shortly. So stick around.